Ears to Hear podcast listeners. This is Kimball here with my lovely wife Kacie for another small and simple thing. She's come to share some thoughts on emergency preparedness. So, Kacie, what are you thinking?
Well, emergency preparedness is definitely a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I grew up always learning different ways to prepare and reasons why.
Sure. And
just little by little, especially last year, we got a small taste of what I fear is to come, that's been prophesied to come.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, there's no secret that us in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we're preppers, and for good reason.
Yeah. We've always been encouraged by prophets to prepare. Brigham Young originally told us that we needed 7 years of food storage. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I couldn't do that today.
No, and thank goodness that's not the expectation. And I feel like we'd be warned if that was the need.
Oh, sure. Thank goodness we're only warned to, 1 year's worth, if that?
Yeah.
They're saying even if you can, just 6 months.
Yes.
Which is much more doable. I want to share this one quote from Elder L. Tom Perry.
Okay.
He taught that the need for preparation is abundantly clear. The great blessing of being prepared gives us freedom from fear. And I remember in one of your earlier podcasts, you mentioned that faith is the absence of fear. And so we're putting all our faith into this.
Yeah.
So we don't have to have fear.
Yep. Faith motivates you to do things, and fear stops you from doing things. So when you have food storage, you have freedom to go do what you need to do in an emergency situation. But if you don't, you are in a panic situation.
Oh, yes. I mean, once again, look at 2020, where people were panicking, running to the stores for formula and toilet paper and whatnot. And
yeah, the great toilet paper scare of 2020.
Fortunately, we were prepared.
Yeah, I would tell people, I've got 6 months of toilet paper stored, and I didn't buy an ounce of it this year.
I had a neighbor growing up that she's like, I don't need food storage. I have a whole room downstairs full of toilet paper. I'll just, barter.
Apparently it'll work.
It's like they knew it was coming.
Yeah. Well, speaking of knowing what is coming, what are things to look for?
Well, I read this really cool article in the Armstrong Economics. Just real quick and simple. They think that the next famine is going to come in 2022.
That's next year.
Yes, and I think it's based on a study that was done on the 2008 financial crisis that showed that there was approximately a 2-year lag between an economic shock and food shortages, thus explaining next year.
We're in the economic shock right now.
Yes, and with everything that's going on between the extreme weather, the locust plagues, the colony collapse disorder, global transport crisis, crop loss, Biden's 30 by 30 plan,
Yep.
all of that, it's currently reducing all of our food supply at a time when we should be stockpiling it.
Yeah. And in the meantime, both Bill Gates and China are buying up massive amounts of American farmland.
Oh, yes, Bill Gates has a whole bunch, and that 30 by 30 plan, it's undermining all of our agricultural output.
Yeah, not to mention the attempt to give money only to the non-white farmers that Biden had to have shut down by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, I was talking to someone not too long ago, and they were saying, but America has those grain reserves. I said, oh no, those are all gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a few things echoing this of people talking about this. It's not just lumber. It's not just computer chips. But the actual food storage supplies that farmers have are diminishing and depleting.
Oh, easy. There was another article I read in the church news. The pandemic disrupts supply chains that the crop distribution, all at a time of already exploding hunger. So, without being too alarmist, if we do not address this crisis in a coordinated manner, it is projected to grow to be among the worst famines in human history.
Oh, geez.
Which is funny because most people don't know about the sunspot cycles.
Okay.
So they're predicting that we're coming close to what's called a grand solar minimum. And that's what's causing our strange weather lately.
The heat, the freezings.
Yeah, the weird weather we had down in Texas and elsewhere. And it's happened before. And it's causing these droughts right now that we're in.
So you put all these things together. And, there was a talk that Elder Benson gave, President Benson, I should say, where he said that he supposes that food storage may be one of the factors of the parable of the 10 virgins, half being prepared and half not.
It's a lot.
And I think it is true. I think as far as church membership, you probably have about half who obey the command to have food storage at any given time, and half that don't. And while individually the need is there, I had it growing up where my parents had food storage and rotated it. So thin times we never noticed. We always had food, and we deplete it. And then when good times came, you fill it back up. I think in our day, I don't think it'll be an individual thing when this in particular does hit. I think it'll be so big that you can't just go to a neighbor, as the parable says, and ask to borrow.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why you need to do it now. Go to your neighbors now. That's what's so great about the church program that we have, is we have the block captains, and for emergency situations, get to know everyone now and figure out what everyone has and what everyone needs around you, so you're all prepared together.
Yeah.
Because alone, you're not going to make it.
No, and if they foment another crisis like the last one with the pandemic, you're going to be told, don't dare talk to your neighbor. So we definitely need to establish those relationships when our neighbors are comfortable talking. Yeah.
Fortunately, we're in an area where we are getting back together with our neighbors. Some places aren't.
Yeah.
Don't feel comfortable yet.
Really does depend on where you live. Well, I appreciate you coming and sharing this. This is some of it new information for me.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Well, I have to say this, though. Like I said before, start now. Whether you start with basics from the church storage program, like wheat, notes, and sugar, or prefer to start with individual items that the church doesn't sell, like carrots, strawberries, chicken, whatever.
Sure.
Or even have the extra money to buy the, prepared meals. Just do it now, because I feel like our window is closing.
Yeah, and if the inflation rate hits as it continually is right now, but also potentially could increase, hyperinflation, these goods will only become more expensive.
Yeah, don't wait. How many times do we have to be reminded to do it now? Get ready.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if it is just going to the grocery store and buying twice what you normally would, that's at least a start.
It's better than nothing.
But, yeah. But don't just grab every piece of toilet paper and make everyone else think that it's panic time.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'll leave you with one more quote from President Nelson. The Lord loves effort, and effort brings rewards. Don't be like the men who lift up their voices and curse God. Heed their warnings and start putting in effort today.
That's a nice quote. You know, it's very true that this warning has always been there. The prophets have always said, be prepared, and you won't fear. I know it's true. We definitely have felt that in our lives.
Definitely. Well, thanks for letting me come on today and speak about emergency preparedness with you.
I'm glad you came.